Hey there, this is Sarah, and if you want to know more about the 5 types of foreigners I've encountered while living here in Germany, then keep on watching.
Moin! I'm Sarah. I'm a foreigner living here in Germany and I'm loving every bit of it. Please follow along as I take you on my journey in the land of fairy tale castles and tasty bread, Deutschland.
So, I have been living for a year now here in Germany, and I've encountered quite a lot of foreigners. The first ones are the students. They're here to either do their masters or they're exchange students from other countries. So they're basically here to study. Germany is actually well known for exchange students and people who would like to master their craft in their chosen profession. And Germany is a really good choice to do that if you are planning to study overseas. If you come over to Germany and do your further studies or do your exchange studies, check first the language requirements that you need. Second are the people who work here, who actually come over for work. Like me, I belong to this category because I'm a nurse. I came from the Philippines and I was already a registered nurse in the Philippines. I've been working there for quite some time as a nurse in a hospital. I wanted to learn the German language, then got interviewed for a job, and then came over. But good to know, you need to take note that each profession has its necessary language proficiency certificate. So, for example, in my case, I need to have a B2 certificate as a nurse to be able to start my Anerkennung when I arrive here in Germany. So, learning the language was one, but it's not everything. But I would really suggest that you learn the language first before you intend to come, or else you will have to take it into consideration that the language is really hard. I know some people who actually came over and they learned the language here, but they weren't doing their own profession. Especially for professionals, there's a specific language proficiency that employers need for you to be able to take the job. The good thing about Germany is that they're very open to foreigners. They really welcome foreigners to work here, and they give residency permits for specific professions that they need, or highly skilled professionals who actually qualifies to stay here and work. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of us. There are a lot of us here in Germany, and I will link down in the description below the websites that I've used for checking and counter-checking my requirements to be able to work here in Germany. The third type of Germany are the diplomats and the immigrants. Immigrants, I also think about the refugees and the regular immigrants. So immigrants in general are the people who just really want to come over to Germany to start up a new life, or some people who just really think that Germany is better for them than anywhere else. It will actually depend on what your goals are and what Germany can offer. If you want me to do a really detailed videos about immigrants and immigration from other countries over to Germany, then please comment down below. I will definitely do one. My migration process was arranged by my agency because I do have an agency in the Philippines. I also have an agency here. If you want to know which agency I have in the Philippines, then I will link it down below as well. The fourth type are those who just come over for travel. If you are traveling to Germany for any amount or length of time, the very first thing that you need to check is if you need a visa or not. Then if you travel a lot, I know you can travel now because we're still under quarantine and you can do leisure travel. Not that you cannot travel, but you can do leisure travel. Once it's okay to travel, then, or if you actually realize during this quarantine that you want to travel, first and foremost, check your passport. Check how long can you stay in a certain country without getting a visa. And if you actually need a visa, might as well try to check the length of time that you have to wait to actually get the appointment from the German embassy. Last but not the least, the fifth type of foreigners that I have met and encountered here in Germany are those that have married Germans. So there's quite a few of them. It's a tricky one. So they're married to a German citizen back home or back in their country. The German partner wants to bring the family over or bring the spouse over. And yeah, that's a different process. Based on what I've heard and what I've seen in the embassy, people who marry Germans don't necessarily have it easier. Maybe they don't need the requirements that I have to have, but they also need to have their own set of requirements. They have to have a background about the Germans, because when you go to the embassy, you will be asked specific questions about how and why and where, and even the Germans who actually went to the embassies, they go there and they also get asked. I was waiting for my documents to get stamped. German guy went over to the other counter because I think he lost his license and he needs to report it to the embassy. And he actually got multiple questions. He got a lot of questions. I'm trying to point out is that the German process of anything, actually in anything, in Behörde or anywhere, even here in Germany, there's a specific process and you have to follow that specific process. There's no such thing as an easier process, one easier process and the other is hard. No, it's the same. It's all processes. They're all processes here. I had to wait for like a month to get my visa. They give you a certain time frame when you would have to go back and get your passport with the visa if you get approved, and sometimes they don't approve you. Good thing to note, if you are processing a visa in a German embassy, you have to make sure that your important information, especially your basic information like your name and birth date, are the same all across your papers, your requirements. A lot of my friends who have never thought that they have a problem with they have all the requirements. They actually have all the requirements, but they never check the requirements. It will prolong the screening of your documents because once you fail the initial screening during your appointment, from what I've heard from my friends who had problems like this, yeah, it took them like 6 months. Some even have years to wait just because of errors in the document, and they wouldn't even know that it's because of an error. Or when you have it corrected, you would have to wait for another translation, or you have to wait for another release of that document. So yeah, be very keen about the documents that you submit. All right, I really hope this helps, guys. I will link all the websites that I've used down below. And for those people who are interested to know the migration process for working professionals here in Germany, I'll make another video about that, super detailed about just the migration process. And yeah, stay tuned. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell so that you won't miss any videos that I would have in the future. I hope you learned some stuff from me, and I will continue teaching you some German words in the future. Just some German words that I'm already very confident using. See you next time. Ciao. No, it's not a lot. How do I say that? Kaya ko to! I will link in my description, in the video description. I will link in the video description. I will link in the See you next time. Ciao.